Chances are you've watched a finance podcast on how to build wealth through bonds, real estate, private credit, and crypto. Well, at least not gambling on meme coins. Halfway through, you're already convinced. This makes sense. You feel ready. You open your laptop. You try to buy a government bond, invest in private credit, or own a fraction of a commercial building. And that's when reality hits. The opportunities are real, but access is still a dream. Minimum investment requirements, endless paperwork, restricted platforms, approval processes. Somewhere in that process, interest turns into friction. Friction turns into delay. Delay turns into doubt. Want to transfer ownership? Wait. Want to settle a transaction? Wait. Everything is slow. Reality hits when you want access to opportunities beyond your market. At this point, giving up starts to feel like the safest option. The world moves at internet speed, but finance still operates on. Please hold while we process your request. And that's becoming a problem, because as more value moves online, the gap between modern technology and traditional finance becomes impossible to ignore. The question is no longer whether finance needs better infrastructure. The question is, who is building it? Now imagine something different. Not just faster finance, but a world where ownership moves instantly, settlement happens in seconds, and assets don't wait through layers of middlemen approvals. A world where global access is not a privilege, but the default. This is the impact real finance is making on global finance. Not as an upgrade, but as infrastructure built for the modern financial era. Some finance-driven co-founders with backgrounds across banking, capital markets, and Web3 infrastructure started with a simple vision. What if real-world assets didn't rely on fragmented traditional finance rails? What if real-world assets could be open to everyone? Programmable, secure, trustless, and decentralized. Real Finance is a Layer 1 blockchain building infrastructure for real-world assets, enabling institutions to tokenize, insure, and trade financial assets with security, transparency, and regulatory alignment. That sounds like something a Harvard professor would say, the kind that needs a second lecture and maybe a miracle to fully understand. So let's simplify it. Most blockchains try to do everything: NFTs, DeFi, SocialFi, gaming, payments. Real Finance focuses on one thing: tokenizing real-world assets, turning them into digital tokens so people anywhere in the world can own a share of real estate, stocks, bonds, intellectual property, and other valuable assets. Think of it like a bridge. On one side are real-world assets, the things people use to build wealth. A building in Dubai, a loan, a credit agreement. On the other side are digital markets, fast, global, always open. But right now, these two worlds don't connect properly. Real Finance sits in the middle and connects both sides, step by step. So how do we walk across that bridge? For institutions, it starts with a tokenization company submitting a financial instrument through Real Finance's onboarding process. The system defines how the asset lives on-chain, what it represents, how it behaves, and how it moves. Then comes risk. The system evaluates asset stability, cash flow predictability, and what could potentially go wrong. The asset receives a classification, a risk profile. Next comes insurance. Optional, but powerful. A safety net added before trading even begins. Then comes the moment everything becomes digital. The asset is minted on-chain, not as hype, but as a structured representation of something real. From there, the users enter the picture. Assets can now move. You can buy a fraction of a property, shared across multiple owners in different countries at the same time. And this is where it starts to feel different from normal crypto. This isn't about guessing prices. It's about accessing global, real-world opportunities. Participation has its own layer, where users don't just hold the network's native currency. Staking asset positions you to earn from the ongoing $50,000 Genesis campaign, a 3-month pre-launch staking campaign designed for early ecosystem participants. Users who stake actively support the early structure of the system, and in return, they receive a time-weighted share of a fixed 50,000 USDC rewards allocation, claimable at the end of the campaign period, August 12 at the time of posting. Every asset carries information with it: risk level, insurance status, and cash flow expectations, all visible, all traceable, all updated on-chain. The network doesn't exist in isolation. It's EVM compatible, Cosmos-based, and built to communicate across chains so value doesn't get trapped in one place. But security still matters. That's why the system uses proof of stake. Validators don't just confirm transactions. They help secure the integrity of assets, data, risk profiles, and the entire life cycle of the system. Because when real money enters the system, there is no room for guessing. Real finance isn't trying to reinvent money. It's rebuilding the path that real-world value travels through. Instead of paperwork, you get programmable rules. Instead of waiting, you get settlement. Instead of hidden layers, you get transparency. And instead of closed access, you get global participation, where compliance allows it. Because this system isn't built outside regulation. It's built to align with it. It doesn't fight the rules, it encodes them. And that's the difference. Every major shift in finance begins with infrastructure. The internet needed networks. Commerce needed payment rails. Digital assets needed blockchains. And real-world assets may need something purpose-built. The question isn't whether RWAs are coming on-chain. The question is, who will build the rails? Real finance is